Welcome to Exploring Anime with Friends, a JMO for Real podcast on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I'm your host, JMO.
And today's friend is my wife and co-host, Sarah. In this episode, we will be exploring the world of campfire cooking in another world with my absurd skill, a fantasy adventure slice of life with heavy food themes. Yum. Released in February of 2024. For the next 20 to 25 minutes, we will explore the first season of Campfire Cooking. First, we will take a glance at Makoto, his story, and his unique skill. Next, we will introduce you to the traveling companions, Sui and Fel. Afterwards, we will look at some of the fights and food that our adventuring team shared together. Finally, we will explore some of the other beings and interactions that happen outside of the battlefield and the kitchen. And remember, if you like what you hear today, follow us on social media, linked in the show notes. So Sarah, Makoto, talk to us about Makoto a little.
Makoto's a good guy. He just finds himself suddenly trapped in this world, and he's got just a really absurd skill.
Well, it's not quite trapped in this world suddenly. Give that whole intro scene.
So in the opening scene, Makoto finds himself quite suddenly with three other people, only in the throne room of this foreign world. In it, he discovers that the other people there, who he doesn't know at all, they all have these cool powers. One can wield the hero's sword, one has magic, and his power is online shopping. I would like to think that if I were in that situation, I would be smart enough to be like, heck yeah, this is awesome. But put suddenly there, I'd be like, what the heck is online shopping mean? And I would probably do what Makoto did and be like, guys, I'm not really a hero. Can I be excused from this?
But it's funny, because as he explores it further, he suddenly starts to realize, oh wow, I can buy things from my world at a fraction of their price and bring them into this world. So I have all of the food that I want for a much cheaper price. I can get a portable gas stove and bring it over. Could do so many different things with this. And suddenly realizes, wow, this isn't that bad at all. And for being a hero in the world, brought from a different world, they have two other skills that they get automatically. Do you want to share what those other two skills are, or do you want me to jump on them?
I mean, I don't remember the second one. Oh, appraisal. So he can look at something and he knows what it is. He knows what it does, which is pretty valuable.
And how strong it is, what its stats are.
And the second one is he basically has a bag of holding, which is fantastic.
Yeah, he can carry around everything that he wants, and that becomes very important very quickly because as he's adventuring, he has to be able to store the food in different places, and it actually keeps the food fresh. Anything that's put in doesn't get old. It's like both a pocket outside of space and time. It's kind of cool.
It is.
So one of the first things that he does, he realizes he needs to, if this kingdom is calling people in and something's not sitting right with him about this kingdom that's called them in. So he's like, I better get out of here as quickly as possible. So he goes to the Adventurers Guild and he hires a team to take him on his journey. And on the first part of the journey, he's cooking food for them, and it's the best food that they've had and everything, and they're enjoying it so much. And another being enjoys it and starts following them and watching them. You want to tell us about this hunt going on and who this other being is?
The other being is what they call a Fenrir, which, I mean, to call him a wolf is pretty insulting.
It's a legendary S-rank creature.
He's a giant magical dog wolf awesome thing, and he's smelling all this delicious food, and he just can't help himself. As they're eating on the second night or something like that, he approaches them and he's like, human, you're gonna make me food. And Makoto looks at the group that's he's hired to protect and help him travel, and they're like, no, just do it.
Yeah, they want no part of having to fight a Fenrir. They're strong, but they're not Fenrir level strong. And Makoto feeds the food repeatedly to the Fenrir, one plate after another. Everything that they hunted earlier that day, it's depleting all their meat supply. But eventually, as they get towards the end of it, the Fenrir is like, I am satisfied. I'm going to be your familiar now. Let's enter a contract. And Makota's kind of like, I really just try to keep a low profile here. And the Fenrir is like, no, I am going to be your familiar. And the adventuring group looks and it's like, yes, do it.
You're gonna be with him. You guys are partners
Whether you like it or not, he's gonna be your familiar, or something bad's gonna happen to you.
Pretty much.
So he signs the familiar contract and he gives the Fenrir the name Fel. Want to say anything more about Fel? Maybe some of his powers or whatnot?
I mean, he's friggin' magical and awesome. Like, I'd like to more talk about his personality. He's very, like, proper and, like, prompt. And, like, I just didn't quite expect that when I'm seeing this, like, glowing eyes following them as they're going along. I expected more of, like, a monster. But no, Fel's pretty prideful, pretty arrogant, but, like, very proper in how he speaks and just how he is.
Also very whiny sometimes when he's waiting on his food. He's like an impatient child at times.
He really
right?
just is, yes.
And it's like, I want meat. And it's like, okay, but we're going to put it on rice this time. No. And it's like, oh, wait, the rice tastes good.
Yeah, like after Makoto's already given him his meat, Makoto's eating his meal that has the rice, and he's like, I want to try that now. It's like, come on.
Yeah, so Fel is definitely full of antics and incredibly powerful, both with hand-to-hand or, I guess, claw and tooth. And with both wind magic and lightning magic, he is a legendary beast. The next one that gets added to the team isn't quite as legendary at first. Talk to us about how third member joins the team.
Legendary or not, Sui is wonderful, and I will hear nothing ill against Sui. Sui's a slime. Showed up, and Makoto's like, it's adorable.
Sui was just a couple days old. Sui starts cleaning up around their campsite after a dinner. Makoto's telling it what it can eat and what it can't eat. Just giving it like all sorts of cuddles and like hugs and everything. And Fel eventually speaks up and says, looks like it's your familiar now. And it's like, Makoto's like, wait, I didn't enter a contract with it. He's like, you gave it exactly what it wanted, and you gave it a place in your heart and a place in its heart. Bring up your stats. Makoto brings up his stats and realizes, oh, I have a signed familiar now. I'm going to call you Sui. And it's like love at first, whatever they do.
It's adorable. So is all of them.
And Sui's learning and growing and eventually is able to learn how to speak and starts, tell us a little about Sui's personality and powers.
I mean, Sui's pretty awesome. They're all pretty awesome, but Sui's very, like, the voice is very soft and gentle, so... Again,
very childlike.
Very childlike. And again, didn't expect much beyond that, especially for combat. But then, like, Sui starts, like, throwing, like, friggin' bullets, like...
acid bullets.
Like, it was this... I was like, what is this? What is this little child doing?
Yeah, it comes across very sweet and naive, and then it
throws acid bullets.
It does acid bullets. It learns how to make health potions at a certain point in time when it eats too much of a certain, like, healing mushroom in the forest, so it can make greater health potions that are unrivaled and unmatched. Right down to weaker ones, but ones that can basically bring you back from the verge of death. And is given water magic, too. So it's able to do all sorts of things with its water magic, whether it's slicing through multiple trees at one time or filling a hot tub in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah.
Let's talk about their personalities and the three of them interacting with each other.
I mean, even though, like, Fel's, like, big, bad, awesome, mythical beast creature. Makoto,
Uncle Fel!
It's so adorable. It's just so cute. And Makoto's always like, now Fel, like, being, like, almost the dad. Like...
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Fel does not want to be called Uncle Fel at all. And he's like, well, if you're going to call me Uncle Fel, you should call him Uncle Makoto. And so he's like, no, Master is Master. It's just an adorable little scene as a whole. Fel notices at a certain point in time, you're giving Sui special treatment. Stop yelling at... and Makoto's like, stop yelling at me, Fel. Oh, Sui, you're so cute. Like, it's really funny how Fel's like, when's food going to be ready? Makoto's like, be patient. Wait. I have to do all the setup. And when Sui asks, when's food gonna be ready? Makoto is like, oh, I'm preparing it immediately for you. You're so cute, Sui. Anything to add on that? Like,
I mean, that sums it up. It really does. That's the dynamics.
So super protective of Sui, but then he realizes that Sui is way too powerful and becoming too much of a killing machine, like Uncle Fel.
It's impressive, really, how that escalates.
Yeah, no, it doesn't take long at all before Sui, a lowly slime, is more powerful than Makoto. Makoto compares their stats at the same level and is like, oh my goodness, Sui is so much more powerful than me.
I mean, it's probably from the food.
One thing to point out, we didn't mention this with Makoto before, Makoto's actually a very skilled cook. He picks up a little bit of magic of his own. He learns how to make rock bullets, lift stone walls, and even do things with fire. Skills that come in very useful in the wilderness, because he's actually able to make shelters for them out in the wilderness, and eventually gets enough money to buy a hot tub so that he can fill it with water and keep the water warm with his powers. He does learn how to make the most of all the additional skills that he pulls up. So if you're already getting hooked, we recommend you watch it for yourself on Crunchyroll, home to over 1,000 anime series and simulcast, both subbed and dubbed. The website is listed in the show notes. Now let's talk about some of the adventures with the food and the fighting and all of it. Do we want to talk about the food or the fighting first?
I want to talk about the food.
Let's talk about the food. Jump right in, hun.
I'll admit it. Every time I see food like on a cartoon, it always looks better than anything I've seen in real life. I don't know what it is. I don't know what these people do when they draw food in cartoons and shows like that. It always looks better.
And food really is kind of the focus of of a lot of the different episodes. Like in all reality, you see him stopping to prep the meals. He's giving a recipe. You see it cooking, and you see the reactions. Like there's probably a solid 7 to 8 minutes an episode devoted to the cooking, the explaining, the showing him purchase the stuff, or the meat that they have in their bag that Fel hunted, and the reactions of Sui and Fel to it.
So the cool thing about that he eventually learns is that when he cooks the food from like our world and feeds it to him, feeds it to Fel and Sui and all that, it gives them a stat boost based on kind of what they ate. Like there's one time where he gets Wagyu beef and he goes all out and he makes it amazing, and Fel just digs into it, and when Fel's done, he's like, I have so much energy, I must go and use all this energy and hunt, and
hunts a ton of legendary creatures during
just
that.
Just goes at it.
Like, honestly, I'm just gonna jump in here. He takes down an orc general and all of the orcs in its company. He takes down a chimera in that hunt. He takes down a black snake in that hunt, a metal lizard in that hunt, and you find out that all of these are rank A and S creatures.
So it's really cool. He views Fel's stats right before Fel just like runs off, because he's just like glowing with energy, and the amount, like the boost was incredible. And even back in the beginning, when he makes a little something for the Iron Will group that like leads him from the first town to the next town, like he sees like, oh, they have a stat boost too, and it's just like he's learning this, and he's like, okay, we're not gonna do Wagyu beef again because that was too much, but we can do other things.
Well, I mean, he'll do Wagyu beef again with him at some point in time, I'd imagine,
but not like every night.
Yeah.
Fel running around killing everything in sight.
Did you have a dish or two that you really liked that when you saw it on the screen that he made?
I mean, like everything, yes, but like I don't remember if it was. I think it was the first episode, to be honest. There's this. I'm gonna try to say it right. It was Red Boar Shogayaki, and it's pork with some kind of delicious looking sauce. And he takes like juliennes a cabbage, and just I don't know why. Like I like cabbage. I don't think I've ever had it like plain. I don't think he did anything to it. It just looked fantastic. I think I would just eat that all day.
I think my favorite food scene with the three of them is after they take down a large group of wyvern. They sit down and they have sandwiches out in the wilderness, and I think it's like, they're twice fried hamburgers. I don't remember the proper name, but they're eating them in sandwich form, and I think there's Orc General one, and that one was Sui's favorite, and Makoto liked the blend of the two meats the most, and Fel liked a red horn bull? Yeah, red horn bull. Yeah, there we go. They take out a full troop of them for the Adventurers Guild and sell half the meat to them and keep half of it, and that's Fel's favorite. So they're all enjoying sandwiches together, and a little before that, he introduces them, both Sui and Fel, to soda, and they're drinking that, and all sorts of different sweets and everything. Like, there's a lot, and they have their meals when they get to towns. They have their meals after taking out large prey. And really, it's they take out some pretty crazy stuff together. They took out a whole pack of wyvern at one point in time. They took out a whole swarm of red-horned bull. They took out a mithril lizard. This thing is basically impervious to physical damage and has over 50% magic resistance. Yet Fell is just able to one-shot it, and they claim a mithril mine for the kingdom that they're in at that point in time. But anything that just appears in their path, they're able to take out. And one time they took out a whole goblin settlement that was torturing the nearby village, and Sui just calmly and uses its acid to dissolve all the corpses. Like, it's I don't know, there's really nothing that has challenged Fell or Sui up to this point in time. Even when they've gone into dungeons, and in dungeon they help Makoto become stronger, and Makoto's actually able to do a good amount of damage to the Kobold King in a dungeon that they go in together before he finally passes out. So any final things you want to add with the fighting or the food?
It all looks delicious. I'm just going to focus on the food again. It just, every single thing, even if it's something I don't think I would, try, I would still try it. It just looks delicious.
Right? And all of these foods all the creatures that they battle, they bring back to the Adventurers Guild, to the butcher for him to harvest the resources from and give them the meat in return. Makoto becomes a member of the Adventurers Guild. And in the one town where he spends the majority of the second half of the season, he becomes pretty close to both the butcher and the guildmaster. He's constantly bringing the butcher things that he has not had the privilege of working on before, like red snake and black snake, whose hides are like the state of the art for leather working. He couldn't even take some of the stuff, like the chimera. They just didn't have enough money to be able to give it to him. It took them bargaining with the nobles of the town in order to be able to buy the mithril lizard off of them, and it helped that they gained a mithril mine as part of it. So, but yeah, no, he keeps his butcher and the guildmaster busy all the time, and he makes thousands of gold to the point where
he's killing it.
Yeah, he makes generational wealth so that he can pass down and live a lifestyle of luxury. And meanwhile, he's doing all sorts of great things for the guild. Many of the S-ranked missions on that otherwise were just like going to waste, and everyone loves Lord Fenrir, as they call him.
Yes, Lord Fenrir.
Want to talk about him being a merchant too?
Yeah, definitely. So he is part of the Merchants Guild, and one of the merchants that he really gets along well with is a man named Lambert, who's the leather worker. And at first, he's just going in there because he wants to buy, a satchel, basically, to put Sui, so Sui can kind of, doesn't have to, slime everywhere. He
rescues Lambert from a band of thieves on the way to the city that they had.
He does, so there's definitely, that's always a good, a good way to get in someone's good graces. Eventually, he figures out that he can buy, shampoos and stuff like that, and he takes it to Lambert in his own little glass bottle.
And that's from his online grocery.
Yeah, from his online grocery. He buys shampoos in these little fancy glass bottles, takes it to Lambert, and he's like, "Hey, do you think these will sell well?" And Lambert's like, "Oh, let me try them out first." And the next night, Lambert's hair's all beautiful because they don't have this the quality of shampoo that we would have. They're just using lye soap pretty much, and he's got all the good stuff basically.
And it comes at a time when Lambert needs to find an anniversary gift for his wife because she's tired of receiving bags all the time. And when Makoto comes in after Lambert's used the product, you can tell his wife's used it too. And man, she's just like, "Oh, we need to make a contract with you."
They are best friends now.
So Lambert and Marie sell the shampoos and soaps in their shop, and they give him a generous amount of money for his product when he's spending coppers to get gold. He did that with salt and pepper early on in the first Merchants Guild.
That's right.
And as a result of making all this money, he eventually gets that hot tub and has baths for him, Sui, and Fell out in the wilderness.
Yep. Using his earth magic to make a little house around it so they can have privacy.
So we should talk a little bit about where this magic comes from. And it comes from the goddesses. We have to mention them.
Have to talk about them. They'll be mad if we don't.
Yeah. So Nenrir is the first one who actually blesses Makoto because she's already given blessings to Fel, and he recommends her to him. So he offers her sweets and treats in order to get the blessing. So she gives him a minor wind blessing. The other goddesses find out pretty quickly, and they're kind of like, so you're hogging this guy all to ourselves? You're hogging all these tasty sweets and treats all to yourself? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. We're stepping in, and we're making contracts with him, too. Want to talk a little bit about the goddesses and their blessings?
So I'll jump to Agni. Agni is pretty fun. She's the fire goddess, and she's like the angry one, too.
Boisterous.
Boisterous.
She's loud and in charge.
That's a much better word. She blesses Makoto with fire magic in exchange for alcohol.
Ooh. By the way, Makoto loves drinking the perfect beer.
Yes, that's actually the brand of the one he drinks, which is hilarious. Every time I saw it on the screen, it was hilarious.
Talk to us about the other ones. The fire one is one that Makoto was actually compatible with. He was also compatible with earth magic, too.
So the earth goddess, her name is Kasharl, and I'm hoping I'm saying that right, just because it's a fun word. She blesses him with earth magic in exchange for, like, basically, and I don't know why she would want these anti-aging products, like skincare products, but like specifically anti-aging ones.
She wants her hair to feel silky and smooth at all times. She wants it to be more silky than the rest of the goddesses.
Oh, that's what it is. Beauty products.
Yes. And they all eat sweets, too, in addition to it. But the last one, Makoto has no resonance with water, but Sui does. So the last one gives a major blessing to Sui.
Yeah, she can't give it to Makoto because there's no affinity for water magic at all. But Sui, that's Sui's shtick. Her name is Rusalka, and she just blesses the heck out of Sui.
Yeah, in return, she wants some of the nice home-cooked meals that Makoto makes. She just doesn't want the sweets. She wants the good stuff, too. The stuff that makes Fel and Sui mouthwater. So yeah, he gives sweets to all the goddesses,
yes.
But they all like different things. He accommodates them, and in return, they give him minor blessings of wind, which he has no use for, but it does protect him from status effects, wind, fire, and earth, and Sui a major blessing of water. And, they add fun, silly antics at the end of the episodes, and fun, silly antics during the episodes, too. Especially when Makoto forgets to give them offerings during the course of a week. So, yeah.
You're not allowed to forget that.
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not allowed to forget it at all. So, once again, if you like what you heard today, remember to follow us on social media. It's linked in the show notes. All of our social media there. Like, subscribe, follow. We definitely appreciate that. Any final thoughts about it?
I mean, it's really fun. If you're looking for something that's not stressful to watch, because there are some anime that, like, definitely are stressful. It's pretty relaxed, but it has that sense of adventure. It has all the food. It's just really fun.
Yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed this anime. It's lighthearted and fun. It bugs me a little that there's no antagonist in it.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
And it seems a tad repetitive at times, but then because it just seems like they're escalating to a better food than before or a tougher fight than before, but beating it quickly. But at the same point in time, I love the characters.
I could see that. I still think it's just lighthearted. It's good stuff.
Though I'm sure it escalates much more in Season 2, and I'm really looking forward to when Season 2 comes out.
Definitely.
I know that there's more familiars and more goddesses and even probably better food, and I'm guessing an antagonist at some point in time during the future. But yeah, it is fun. It is very slice of life, and it is very fun to watch. So once again, we explored through the world of Campfire Cooking. We took a look at Makoto and his traveling team with Fel and Sui. We then took a look at the different food and fighting that they go through all the time. And finally, we brought in some of the other supporting cast with the guilds and the goddesses. I hope you had as much fun exploring the first season of Campfire Cooking in another world with my absurd skill as we did, and consider watching the anime. So if you like what you heard today, make sure to listen to us on Apple and Spotify. All of our podcasts are there. All of the J-Mail for Real podcasts are on there. Check us out on social media and interact with us there. It is linked in the show notes. Until next time, this has been Exploring Anime with Friends, a J-Mail for Real podcast.
Let's explore together.